From our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening. Leading the news tonight, a Hobart mother has issued a desperate plea for help, scared her family could be left homeless for Christmas. They're currently on the social housing register, but the average wait time for priority applicants currently sits at more than a year.
A family of 5 crammed into a 1-bedroom cabin. Shani Cannell has been living in a caravan park with her 4 children, including baby Tilly, just 1 week old.
I'm very grateful for the roof over my head, which, because a lot of people still don't even have that, which I understand, but my kids need something.
They've been on the wait list for social housing since May.
I feel like I have been forgotten about because it's just feels like forever.
Now she's been told they'll have to leave to make room for tourists when the borders reopen, left with nowhere to go.
Even though I'm still classed as priority housing and I ring shelters and do all the things that they asked me to do, I'm still here.
With the situation now desperate, the opposition has written to the Housing Minister on her behalf.
The Minister needs to look at the reality of how people are living under his watch.
The government, through Housing Tasmania, will always prioritise those people who are applicants on the housing register who need the house the most.
He says Housing Connect has now advised Shani they'll explore alternative options with her once she has to leave her current accommodation. There are currently more than 4,450 people on the social housing wait list. That number has climbed by around 100 since June. The average time it takes to house priority applicants is 74 weeks.
The government is promising, they just are not delivering on. Shani is in desperate need, living with 4 kids in a caravan. She's not a priority for this government and she needs to be.
Time now running out.
What happens after December 15?
I have no idea. I don't know what could happen next week.
Meg Sides, 7 Tasmania News.
The family of a man struck and killed by a vehicle on New Year's Day in 2019 is appealing for information about his death. A lengthy coronial investigation has never found the person responsible, and his family is pleading with the driver to come forward.
2 years after Gary Hayes was killed, his widow Danielle is still picking up the pieces.
Being Daniel's carer, he was by her side all the time. They were married, they were set up, to live together, and now that's all gone.
Gary was hit by a heavy vehicle while walking along the Midland Highway on the night of January 1, but a lengthy investigation hasn't found the person responsible.
That driver of the vehicle would know they hit something due to the noise and also due to the damage to the grille. It's likely the grille would have to have been replaced, so someone would know something somewhere.
Legal experts say it's unusual to not have any answers years after a tragedy like this, and without members of the public coming forward, Gary's family may never get the answers they're searching for.
Usually by now, someone has reported some information that can assist in the investigation and being able to identify who the driver and or the vehicle is.
His family are again pleading for answers ahead of a coronial inquest into his death.
Whatever happened out there, just show some compassion and come forward.
The inquest begins in January. Ainsley Kosh, 7 Tasmania News.
A jury has retired for the evening after failing to reach a verdict on the final day of a 7-week trial into a Hobart man accused of lighting his girlfriend on fire in 2017. The jury is expected to continue deliberating tomorrow. Debate on the government's controversial gaming legislation is still underway in the state's upper house, but a move to send the Public Accounts Committee for further scrutiny has officially been blocked. Labor and the Liberal parties both voting against it.
This is the government's agenda. It's quite clear that they're not going to accept the recommendations of a committee or an inquiry.
This bill has never been fully consulted on with the Tasmanian community in a way that allows the evidence behind it and the modelling behind it to be tested. We should be doing that as part of our parliamentary review process, and that should have been through a committee. The decision has been welcomed by the Finance Minister.
Federal Group's payroll system is back up and running after a cybersecurity incident shut down the company's software earlier this week. In a statement, Federal says it has not been advised of any breaches of staff members' personal information and all staff are expected to be paid on time. Well, as summer draws closer and the state's fruit ripens, the scramble to find workers has begun. Some farms even launching their own campaigns to attract pickers, which the industry body says will be in short supply due to a Fair Work ruling.
Millions of punnets of berries are waiting to be picked here at Costa Farms, but they need the hands to do it.
We'll need, in our busiest week, we'll need 1,200 workers.
They're launching their own campaign to attract 600 locals.
What we really found worked well last year was having events where people can come and inquire about the job. We've had a few of these already this season about developing interest.
I love the people. I love working with the backpackers and the OPs and meeting new locals as well. I've made plenty of friends locally here. If you work very hard, you can make some very good money out here.
The pressure to find locals will ease over the coming months, with international arrivals returning. New requirements will be on this year's Pacific workers flown in.
That'll be obviously in terms of international travel, within that 72 hours a COVID check and then a double vaccination.
Fruit Growers Tasmania say the proposed floor rate for fruit pickers will exclude some workers from the industry.
We did have a range of people who were able to participate in our industry that picked at a lower rate than was equivalent to that minimum that's proposed, $25.41.
Any workers will need something to actually pick, but a cold and wet spring has some fruit growing slightly behind schedule. Meanwhile, there are fears about a spud shortage.
The potato growers in Tasmania have a big job to do. It has been a little cool and a bit wet. So it's been hard to get some of the potatoes in.
The price of eating set to climb. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
A 20-year-old volunteer firefighter has been suspended from duty today, charged with arson by Tasmania Police relating to 3 separate incidents in the Rossarden region in the past month. The TFS says it will provide support to the Rossarden Fire Brigade and wider community, but will not be making further comment while the matter is before the courts. Meanwhile, police are investigating another house fire in Glenorchy, the second in as many days. Emergency crews were called to the vacant home on Sundew Court at 5:45 this morning. They were able to extinguish the fire, but the home was unable to be saved. Yesterday, a house in nearby Tolosa Street was destroyed by a deliberately lit fire. The cause of this morning's blaze is still being investigated. There has been a flat response to Metro's free vaccination buses. No one caught either of the services running from Rochely direct to the Door of Hope COVID clinic in Launceston. The only passenger to rock up for the 12 o'clock bus did so by mistake.
Oh, really? All right, jump on. Yeah, you going to the vaccination clinic? Or?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay, no, yeah, this is bus. This is before the vaccination clinic.
Another free bus from Mayfield also appeared to be empty. Metro put on the services in the hope of lifting vaccination rates before the state's border reopens on December 15. Something as simple as skipping a blood test has had a terrible consequence for a former Tasmanian politician. Paul Harris is now living with severe prostate cancer, which has now spread. His message to others is to avoid making a similar mistake.
Politics is often described as a blood sport.
Might help out.
But when it comes to blood tests, Paul Harris is trying to help out in another way.
It is so simple. Once a year, visit your doctor. Talk to the doctor about your health.
Harris has done just that ever since a friend died of prostate cancer, aged 58. But he regrettably missed a follow-up blood test ordered by his doctor.
A whole year and a half went by when I didn't have a follow-up.
By then, it was too late. Prostate cancer had seeped into his bones.
Had I had the follow-up, it's possible that we would have had surgery, removed the prostate, no metastasis into the bones.
A 20-year veteran of Tasmanian politics, Harris's story is not uncommon. 550 men are diagnosed with prostate cancer in Tasmania each year.
The statistics are quite high, but so are the survival rates for prostate cancer. So if detected early, the statistics are showing that the survival rates 5 years post-diagnosis are something like 96%.
And that's why Harris is urging others not to be complacent.
Sometimes I question myself about the what-ifs. But generally I'm saying, well, I didn't. That's what happened. I've just got to get on with life.
Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News.
The controversial residential development near the historic Longford racetrack has been given the green light. Northern Midlands Council has approved a plan to subdivide the land to make way for 44 new homes. But some locals fear noise complaints from their new neighbours could spell the end of the oldest continuously used track in the Southern Hemisphere. Plans have been unveiled for the upgraded Sassafras Wesleyville irrigation scheme. $49 million of state and federal government funding is being pumped into doubling the development only 9 years after it was built.
What happened at the time is we would build to the express demand at the time. So, and what it's indicative is that people have now learnt what it is that they can do with the water and what the value of it is.
It's been a game changer for this business. We've been able to enter into partnerships with other people to get diversity with viticulture and other things as well.
It's expected to be operational in 2025. Some of the state's cutest disability support workers have hit Hobart streets to collect much needed funds. As part of Guide Dog Tasmania's annual street appeal, the organisation's pups in training were out and about, raising awareness about their important work with sight-impaired clients.
It gives them freedom and independence in the community just to do things in everyday life, just getting to work.
A guide dog in Tasmania cost $50,000 to train and raise. A swarm of shiny scooters is making its way around the state to help a young Tasmanian with an extremely rare health condition. Young Eddie McDonald is among only a handful of Australians to have PCH4, which affects his ability to eat, talk and use his hands. The team behind Ride for Eddie has been overwhelmed with donations since leaving Hobart. They're aiming to raise $85,000 for a modified van to help Eddie move around.
Little things like going out in the rain, it takes 5 minutes to set his chair up, so by the time I've done that it's wet and then he gets wet and sits in it, so we tend to avoid going out in the rain. But with the van, it will fix that.
I've been blown away by the generosity. People we're stopping to have a coffee, stopping to have a sandwich, and people just come up, put money in the bin, what's it about, how can we help? So it's fantastic.
And Eddie's grandfather says he decided to make his Vespa look like a wasp to take the sting out of Eddie's problems. Hobart City Mission is holding a 24-hour birthday party this weekend to celebrate 1 year since doors opened at its Moona clothing store. From 6 p.m. Friday, there'll be live music, art, workshops and store-wide discounts to thank customers for throwing their support behind the op shop.
We have had over 55,000 paying customers come through the door and over 100,000 people shopping with us throughout the year.
The unusual nighttime party will also feature food trucks in store and even a yoga class. In business and finance news, the Beaconsfield and Helier gold mines are officially on the market. It follows financial issues for parent company NQ Minerals, which was placed in voluntary administration in August. It's business as usual for Helier's tailings operation, while work at Beaconsfield to identify sources of gold is continuing. Offers are being accepted until early December.
The Nest now has claims as a place rivals fear to tread. The Jack Jumpers making history overnight, the team recording its first win, an 81-66 crushing of Cairns. Starting the highlights reel only took one take.
Here's Jack McVeigh with the opening dunk in the game.
Like filming an action movie, the stuntmen had all the moves.
Chris Levick got past Jawai all the way in for the dunk.
And even channeled Michael Jordan's fall away as the Jack Jumpers brought the jam.
Fall away jumper goes.
A three-course serve for the highlights-hungry crowd, Tasmania by 6 at the half. The Taipans have talent, but they made a meal of it in a foul-heavy contest. But take nothing away from the home side. Despite the gifted freeze, the Jack Jumpers gave a glimpse of what fans will see this season.
McIntosh.
Josh Adams kept in touch after his stunner in Game 1, while the closing credits came with 90 seconds still on the clock.
Steinel stolen away and puts the icing on top of the cake.
The Nest is going to be somewhere where teams don't want to come.
The convincing 15-point victory is evidence.
The Jack Jumpers are going to record their first NBL victory in the Blitz.
Lions uncaged at last.
We want to throw the first punch. Our trainings have been nasty, being physical, and it was good to get out there and play against someone else.
Tickets for the first Jack Jumpers game for points sold out in 2 hours. That night on December 3rd is set to go off.
long term, we want to build something special. And I think everyone's appreciating that, and they're showing up ready to support us. And we feel it, and it's something special is being built here, and it's an honour to be part of it.
Good evening. Burnie 18 degrees today, Devonport 17. Hobart and Launceston shared the warmest, with a number of other centres, Friendly Beaches, Bushy Park and Ouse, all reaching 19. Grove 18, Low Head and St Helens 17, Strawn and Flinders Island 16 today and King Island 15. Temperatures sat below average as low-level cloud moved over the state, but lots of sunshine mixed in as well. The extensive area of cloud also sat over southern Victoria. Cloud near the Queensland coast has embedded thunderstorms, as does the cloud over eastern WA. Tomorrow, a high over the Tasman Sea extends a ridge over eastern and central Tasmania. Elsewhere, low pressure centres and troughs abound. Winds north-east to northwesterly 10 to 20 knots, reaching 25 knots over the east early, tending more easterly through Bass Strait. Forecast for tomorrow, 16 for Hobart with showers developing. Showers on the way for Cygnet, 16 the high as well, and 17 for New Norfolk. Launceston 18 with showers developing, same for Devonport, but 16 the top and 16 for Campbelltown. Burnie 15, showers increasing. Bit of wet weather in the west too. Strawn 16, Smithton 17 degrees. St Helens heading for a top of 19. Showers on the way later. Swansea 17, Fingal 17 as well. UV very high and washing the state with an 8. On Friday, showers contracting to the northeast in the afternoon. Partly cloudy over Burnie, Launceston and Hobart. Strawn, Burnie and the Bass Strait Islands can expect a cloudy Saturday. A possible shower elsewhere over the state. And on Sunday, showers more likely over the north and northeast. A possible shower in Perth tomorrow. Partly cloudy and 28 for Adelaide. A light shower on the way for Melbourne. Sunny weather for Canberra and Sydney. Slight chance of a shower over Brisbane. Partly cloudy in Hobart, it's 14 at the moment, 16 in Launceston, bit of cloud about, same for Devonport, but 15 right now. Kim, we'll leave it right there.
Thank you very much. See you tomorrow. That is your midweek news. Thanks for joining us tonight. Enjoy your evening ahead. Good night.